their expertise, and I will turn it over to them so that they can introduce their topic.
Thanks, Amanda. So we first presented this at the Advising Summit, so some of you may have attended that. So it's kind of like a repeat of that, but if you didn't get a chance to attend that one, we're happy to be offering it again for you. But basically, we're going to talk about navigating the difficult challenges in advising and leveraging experience with new advisor perspective. And experiences, sorry. So this explores how a seasoned and new advisor in the same department address sharing advising challenges while also supporting each other's professional growth. And it really flips the usual mentor-mentee narrative by emphasizing how new advisors bring a lot to the table, like that fresh energy, innovation, and a new perspective that can help reinvigorate and reengage longtime advisors, especially during high-stress times or institutional change. Oh, gotta find my mouse across three screens. Okay. So who are we? I'm Margaret MacKeverican. I'm an academic advisor in the Department of Public Health. I've been advising for about 7.5 years.
And I am Monger. I'm also an advisor in the Department of Public Health, and I've been here for almost a year. So as a newcomer, I just bring in fresh perspective, a little optimism, and some transferable skills that I can utilize to help look at our work from a different lens. Okay, and so for our learning objectives for today, we're going to identify common advising challenges that impact motivation and mindset at different career stages. You're going to understand how new advisors can positively influence departmental culture and engagement. You're going to gain some ideas for building collaborative, reciprocal support systems between advising colleagues. And you're going to learn some strategies to prevent burnout and becoming jaded through shared reflection and co-mentoring. And then for our agenda, overall, we're going to be talking about today's advising landscape. And then we're going to touch on reciprocal resilience, avoiding burnout and jadedness, coaching up and down, and collaborative culture.
But before we get too far into this, we have a little bit of an icebreaker. Essentially, we wanted to gauge who here is who is newer, maybe below 3 years, and who's more seasoned, three years or more. And then we want you to reflect on what you think of when you're describing a new advisor or a seasoned advisor. Do you make any assumptions? And we want you to keep that in the back of your mind throughout the presentation, because maybe you'll be surprised or maybe those assumptions are challenged. So it's a Mentimeter and it should be good. Okay, cool. Got some people, 3 of 6 responded. Oh, okay. All right, looks like there's a couple, only one newer and more seasoned. All right, guys, we'll try and gear it towards how we can shift the perspective of what maybe advisors are. All right, cool. How many people are here? 12, 11? Okay, almost there. Cool.
I'm at 2 now.
All right, cool. All right, so not as balanced, but that's okay. All right, and we can move to how would you describe or categorize a more seasoned advisor? Like knowledgeable or experienced or things like that. Like, what do you think of? Or don't have to respond, just kind of think of it, caring. Oh, that's sweet.
That's a good word.
And then institutional knowledge, true. Bag of tricks. All right. Cool.
Heavy on the institutional knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. Calm. I like to talk with that one. Less motivated. There you go. Level-headed. There you go. Yeah. So we can bring some things like more seasoned. They could be less motivated, less caring, in fact, sometimes too. Passionate. All right.
Resourceful.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, we'll start getting responses. Okay, keep going if you guys have it. Cynical. Oh, yep. All right, cool. All right, what about a newer advisor you all think of? Like inexperienced, so energetic, there you go. So it can be positive or negative. So we can kind of maybe challenge any assumptions we have. Open to new ideas, eager,
Wispy.
wispy, like flaky, or no, to learn. Yeah, so got a couple eager. Great. Oh, and sorry, we have if you want to click the link to participate too in the chat. Sorry, I forgot to hit send on that. Open, eager, like a sponge. Yeah, they have to be like a sponge to get all the info they need to advise most of the time. Within 2 weeks they're seeing students, right? Motivated, that's great. 7 out of 13. Okay. Oh, inquisitive. Ooh, awesome. Hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can pass for that.
Cool. All right, great. Ooh. Great. All right, awesome. Thanks so much for doing that, and keep all of these kind of adjectives in the back of your mind throughout the presentation, and maybe some of your ideas will be reaffirmed, or maybe some of them maybe will be challenged a little bit. Let's see, go back.
All right, so next we're going to just go over the advising landscape. The advising landscape today includes a variety of challenges like growing student complexity, increased workload and capacity issues, communication and access issues, institutional complexity and pressures, new technology and data, and lack of professional identity and recognition. And we are going to take some time to talk about each one of these individually.
All right, so we'll start with growing student complexity. I've seen student needs become increasingly complex, even within the mere 7.5 years I've been advising. And it's more than just helping them choose classes or helping navigate degree works or the ASC resources. It's also about helping students navigate their mental health, the financial strain college has on students, their familial obligations, and even their identity exploration all at once. And each conversation feels like we're trying to untangle a web in order to best support them, their unique needs, and their success. But here's just some stats or things we pulled from the literature that the growing population of non-traditional students, like adult learners, transfer students, veterans, part-time students online, need tailored support, and they're balancing school, work, and family obligations. Regarding equity and inclusion, first generation underrepresented students really benefit from culturally responsive advising. And then, so we have to keep up on the literature there. And then mental health challenges. So we often encounter students in distress without clinical training or really the bandwidth to fully address it.
All right, so let's talk about workload and capacity. There are times as advisors when we do more than what our job description entails. We literally take one for the team often. We try our best to uphold the values and missions within our office. And in order to do so, we work beyond our capacity. So for high caseloads, many advisors carry caseloads of several hundred students, limiting depth of interaction, including meaningful conversations and individualized support. And then for some administrative burdens, time spent on registration, data entry forms, and compliance can overshadow relationship building and developmental advising. And just an example of just like caseload and things like that. I currently am running our social media page for LinkedIn. That's not within my job description. However, we identified a need for it. And then I took the initiative to handle it, just to take one for the team, help the team out.
And then there's communication access. There was a time when students just lined up outside my door back when I did drop-ins, but now I'm lucky if they even open an email from me. So even the shift to mainly digital communication has expanded access. It's really thinned that connection with students, and it reminds me that accessibility doesn't always mean increased engagement with students. So a couple statistics from the literature regarding reaching students. They might not proactively seek advising, and some students are disengaged or just unaware of advising services. So advising is underutilized until academic difficulties arise, which we see often. There's also modality challenges. So balancing email, in-person appointments, virtual appointments, and other advising formats to meet diverse preferences. But again, with the rise of remote advising, it increases access, but it can also create engagement gaps. And that's something I've noticed, that there's not that they keep their camera off, so you can't really engage with them or really pick up on some cues you could if you would be able to see their face or be with them in person.
So let's talk about institutional complexity and pressures. With the current presidential climate, it has allowed many different changes. Unfortunately, those changes do affect us at an institutional level. As the laws and systems change, we have to pivot, and those pivots are always easy. For example, because of the current climate, students have lost scholarships, and due to that, they have to replan their academic careers. Some take breaks, some adjust their schedules, some disappear and pop back up once they have it all figured out. This can be stressful. Not only do we turn into life coaches as advisors, we also have to go back to the drawing board to create the best situations possible for our students. And so, for example, changing policies, there's frequent updates to curriculum, registration, financial aid, or transfer policies, and they can confuse students and advisors alike. Decentralized structures, different colleges or departments may have inconsistent advising models, which can create inequitable student experiences. This happens often, especially like during registration time, when students are trying to figure out classes and things like that, and we have different rules across departments. Accountability metrics, advisors are often evaluated on metrics beyond their control, which may not capture the nuances of advising relationships. Institutions often view advising as a lever for retention, persistence, graduation rates, placing performance pressure on advisors. And then lastly, balancing support with accountability. Advisors must encourage independence while helping students navigate complex systems. Tension exists between student development philosophy and institutional accountability metrics, and advisors must be able to balance institutional goals with student-centered practices.
So that's a lot there, but with technology and data, we have more tools than ever, various analytics or alerts, dashboards, but each new system adds another layer to manage. Just like we're getting a new degree audit system, that's going to be fun to manage. Technology helps identify risk, yet it can distance us from the relationships that make advising meaningful. That data tells me which students might struggle and in which classes, but it doesn't tell me why. The why is where we need to focus on so we can provide the most appropriate resources and referrals, because just shoving academic support resources at students doesn't necessarily, it's not a one size fits all. It might not be reason, like academics might not be the reason that they're not succeeding in their courses. But yeah, so some other things of note regarding adoption of tools. Tools like predictive analytics can support success, but raise ethical concerns about any biases that might creep up, and also student autonomy. And then there's also that over-reliance on tools may really affect our relational work with students. And then data overload. We have so much data, and sometimes it can be too much for us, and it could be poorly organized as well. And that can really hinder rather than help us.
So, role clarity. Advising is often perceived as clerical rather than educational, which causes a lack of recognition as educators or student success professionals. We all know advisors do so much more than just advise on classes. There's so many things that we do. Career pathways, there's limited professional advancement opportunities in advising, and there's a lack of clear ladders, which contribute to turnover. Essentially, we have these shared challenges with different lenses, experience, perspectives that allow us to tackle them in unique ways. So we will continue to talk about these things throughout the presentation.
So we'll start with reciprocal resilience. So it's essentially how new and seasoned advisors support each other through their unique challenges. And for seasoned advisors, the challenge often comes from carrying, years of student struggles and sometimes hitting those systemic walls where change feels slow or even impossible, insurmountable even over time. That can really wear down our energy and optimism, creating compassion fatigue. And it's not necessarily about not loving the job anymore. It's about needing something to help refill that energy. And when Anaris joined the team, it was great. Before she started, I was ready to kick back and rest on my laurels. I'm top of my rank. I have ESS. But she was fresh and asked great questions and really reinvigorated my drive for providing excellent advising for our students and really trying to model that for her.
And for new advisors, the challenge looks different. You're absorbing so much at once: systems, policies, acronyms, departmental culture, and it's such a steep learning curve. There's this underlying fear of not wanting to fail a student or say the wrong thing. Imposter syndrome can creep up quickly, but being around a seasoned colleague like Margaret, who helps navigate the chaos and normalize that uncertainty, is very grounding. So a specific example for me was navigating the different credit hours and learning the flow of the curriculum. That was very hard for me. It was so much information thrown at me at once. And I felt that I couldn't keep up. It was overwhelming. And then trying to help a student while not fully understanding the logistics within my role was also overwhelming. However, having that seasoned advisor there to reassure me and to continue to push my progress was really great for my transition into the role.
So what's powerful is how these two experiences really balance each other out, right? The new advisor's energy and fresh perspective reminds the veteran why this work matters, and a seasoned advisor's maybe grounding presence can help calm the overwhelm and offer a more contextual perspective and keep the motivation going. And together we create resilience that we couldn't achieve alone.
All right, so we have another activity for you all. Same process. You can either scan the QR code, and then if you need us to drop it in the chat, we will drop it in the chat. So it's share a time when a colleague's perspective, new or seasoned, help you reframe a situation. So if you want to use the online platform to do it, you can. You can also put it in the chat, or if you want to come off mute and talk about a time, you can do that as well. Or if you want to do all three.
Maybe you learned a new tool or approach from a colleague, younger or newer than you, or have you ever been reassured by a colleague that maybe was more experienced and made you feel a little bit better about the situation? I'll give you a couple minutes to reflect and put it in the chat or unmute or put it in. Is this a voting thing? No, I don't think so. Are you all able to? Sorry. I don't use Mentimeter that often. It's seen the best to capture everything, but yeah, feel free to put it in the chat if you're not able to work with Mentimeter.
I'll go back to the question, so just in case you want to see it.
It's right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll just talk if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So we've had a couple new advisors in our office recently, and they both brought just different experiences that were great. So one of the new advisors worked in a different office on campus, and so she was able to share her experience in that office and share the information from that office that we would have not known or wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And then the other one was great with technology, like Laura just said, just helping us with like figuring out some different technologies and teaching us ways to do things easier than we would have ever known before. So yeah, both have been wonderful and great.
Awesome. That's really great. Because it's not just, it might not be like even new to advising or new to higher education, but just new to your office as well. So like that's a good point about bringing the different institutional perspective so you can have the ends on something else, that can really affect how you move forward. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely.
And when technology, I know our thing was Canva. Like I use Canva a lot for a lot of different things. But then Margaret was like, I never used Canva before. So even that, but like now Margaret is using Canva.
I mean, I can do flyers and stuff, but like the presentation on Canva or whatever, I've never done anything like that or got really too intricate with it. Yeah, so it's cool. And then Helen mentioned that you learn more about Gen Z with new advisors. Yeah, it's always great to keep up on the student population we're serving, because cultural perspective, Gen Z as a culture, it's good to know. So you can be more sensitive to maybe some things that they find important, or just not be offended if they're kind of less formal. You know, sometimes sometimes the way they speak is interesting.
Yeah. More seasoned advisor helped me understand student probation status and process, helped me better assist students with their academic plans.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, just even if you are seasoned, maybe someone more seasoned, or maybe someone around the same years you have, they might do things differently too. So it's also about like not just new versus old. It's like how we, I don't know, cyclical and how we share.
Yeah, how we collaborate,
Yeah.
bring things together.
Great. Any last thoughts on that? Elizabeth, I'm gonna pick on you. No.
Do you want me to share something?
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Well, right now what I'm doing a mentoring. I don't know if James is on the call. I'm doing mentoring through the ASMC, whatever. And just working with him has been really inspiring. So I think I have kind of hit a point sometimes, especially this time of year, it seems like, where it does feel redundant and things feel like you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again, or you're facing the same student issues. But I can say being a mentor like has inspired me more. So working with him and seeing his like excitement and intentionality with every student interaction he has really inspired me to like reset and this semester. So I don't know that James is on the call, but shout out to James Jackson because he's really inspired me and motivated me.
That's awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Exactly what we're trying to get across. And then Sean says, I always appreciate the historical perspective a more seasoned advisor can offer. It can help explain the context of a situation, especially when I'm thinking, why on earth do we do it like that? Exactly. So that's kind of an example too of what we're going to get into next as well. Where are these things? Okay. All right. So feel free to still participate in the chat if you'd like, or any comments about what we're going over, feel free to pop it in the chat. But yeah, some things to avoid burnout and jadedness, essentially due to the emotional labor and increased workloads and the ever limiting resources we have to our disposal. High stress and burnout are well documented in our field. And the demands of supporting students during crises can blur boundaries for us, and that affects our work-life balance. I'm sure there's been many of you that operate outside 8:30 to 5, which isn't amazing for our work-life balance. And that underscores the importance of establishing boundaries, finding support networks, and practicing self-care. Because wellness and professional development are also crucial for long-term sustainability as well. And now that we've gone over how burnout really affects us all, let's focus on how it can uniquely affect us at different stages in our career, because it does look different. So for someone who's been doing this a while, it's not necessarily about being exhausted. It's also about that cynicism creeping in, right? Someone mentioned it in our warm-up today. You stop believing things can change, or you just disengage because it's easier than being disappointed in the system. But then you just start to miss those moments of connections that used to make the job meaningful.
And for new advisors, burnout can show up really fast. The pressure to learn everything can keep up. Sometimes I know I used to feel like I had to keep up, but then I had to pull back a little bit and realize that I'm still in my process of learning. So it's okay to be where I'm at in my learning journey and just continue to grow. There was an emotional weight of student stories in the sense that you're not doing enough because I mean you want to help everybody with everything, and but as an advisor, you have to also have boundaries as well so that you won't get burnout from trying to be superwoman or superman.
Yeah. But yeah, so how new advisors can reignite that passion. It's always been a new advisor that's done that for me. For example, they often ask the version of why do we do it that way? So that's also what Sean mentioned. And that really challenges the way it's always been or the status quo and those stagnant systems that are in place. So yeah, it's always good in our practice to keep reflecting on that question. Why is this policy in place? Why are we doing it this way? Just so we can kind of make sure we're doing our best for our students and ourselves. And we shouldn't just ask that question or be asked that question when we are new in a role or training someone new. Also, new advisors are eager to share a success story for them or for students, which reminds everyone of what's possible. I know Anaris has done that. She's like, I just learned that my student did this from like her responsibility as being on our social media. So we try and promote that, and that those stories and those moments of curiosity and celebration can really chip away at the jadedness. I know it has for me. Mm-hmm. Erica mentions that the need to be involved in so many events and committees as preparation for promotion ESS is overwhelming as well. Yes, for sure. Mm-hmm. I definitely felt that pressure too, because it's those, what's the minimum isn't necessarily communicated in an effective way, and that could vary by school, college, division, all those things too. So it definitely is a frustrating piece.
Right. So how do we stabilize? How do seasoned advisors stabilize? So when you're partnered with someone who's been through it, it gives you permission to breathe and take the long view. There's contact, there's perspective, and there's advocacy in tough systems. So now we're going to talk about coaching up and coaching down. How each advisor teaches and learns from the other is often in unexpected ways. It's something we like to think of as coaching up and coaching down. So when we talk about coaching up, we mean that new advisors can be teachers too. We bring in new tools, maybe tech platforms, like I said, Canva, tracking systems, or ideas from grad school or professional development that can make work more efficient. Sometimes we can reframe self-student stories in a way that shifts perspective for the whole team. But beyond that, we sometimes offer a fresh lens, asking why. This has came up so many times in this conversation, and can prompt healthy reflection about whether a process still serves students as well.
Yeah, exactly. And coaching down doesn't mean hierarchy. It just means sharing those lessons that come from experience. And sometimes that's modeling student advocacy, showing how to navigate a tough conversation with a student or within the department, or even when to push back on a policy for a student's benefit. I know that's not something I've been afraid of doing, and I'm trying to empower Anaris to do that more and more. It's also about normalizing mistakes and reminding new advisor that growth takes time and making mistakes is part of learning and it's not a failure. So kind of operating under the growth mindset as well. And we found that those exchanges go in both directions all the time, and both directions matter. It's reciprocal and it strengthens both advisors. The learning isn't linear, it's cyclical, like I mentioned earlier. So when new advisors coach up, they're helping renew our system or the system. And then when seasoned advisors coach down, they strengthen it. All right. Building a collaborative culture. Beyond the one-on-one relationship, we've also built small habits that reinforce our collaborative culture in our department. So when collaboration becomes part of your culture, you really see the ripple effects fast. We have regular and impromptu meetings as an advising team. And it's not just for logistics, but also for sharing challenges and successes. And this turns our more so vent sessions, which I love to do as well, but it turns them into problem solving sessions. And it keeps morale higher and helps everyone feel heard. We also celebrate big and small wins as a team and ensure to bring it up during our weekly meeting with the chair. And we also co-create advising materials to keep us and the info fresh. So like Inaris mentioned, she's great with Canva. So she's been updating some of our materials that we give to students and hand out during open houses and things like that. So yeah, this ensures that everyone's voice is represented and represented and everyone has ownership over something. So that's also important too. Seasoned advisor can't just hoard all the stuff and not give an opportunity for the new advisor to showcase that leadership. And we also have little mini mentorship moments, maybe a hallway chat or a shared laugh after a hard appointment or email, or just check in via Teams. And that's often where the strongest culture building happens.
And then as a new advisor, the collaborative culture makes such a difference when you know it's okay to ask questions or even challenge an existing process respectfully. It encourages innovation. It also helps align our messaging so students get consistent, accurate information no matter who they see. This is very important because students like to, when one advisor tells a student no, they like to go and try to get a different answer from another advisor. But the fact that we collaborate and we communicate about all our students, so like if Margaret is talking to one of my students, she's going to make sure that she informs me of that conversation so that if that student comes back to me with information or needs an answer, I can already say, hey, I know you talked to Margaret, and we're going to stand firm on the decision that was made with whatever the situation was. Mm-hmm. So these practices make advising feel communal instead of isolating, and they remind us that even when we face tough systems, we're not facing them alone. Tough systems or tough decisions.
Yeah.
Because I think I have like a lot of tough decisions that I have to make as a new advisor. And so I often like ask Margaret a lot for input and just to make that decision.
Because we're a team at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here are some just practical strategies to kind of move forward. We should try and build reciprocal partnerships within our department or our college. We need to recognize when to lean on each other. We should rotate leadership on small projects, schedule regular vent and reflect sessions, share new tools or resources during team meetings, and pair up across career stages. Like Elizabeth noted earlier, she's a mentor in the Academic Staff Mentoring Committee program, and that's a great opportunity for new and more seasoned advisors to give it a shot. And my experience was great as well. I was a mentee 6-7 years ago, and Rebecca was a great mentor. All right, now we have our not final activity, but our probably most involved activity, I guess. We'd like each person to write a strategy that works in their office and post it on the shared board, and then everyone can see what's on the board, and then we can borrow ideas from that. And if you don't want to do it that way, you can always put it in the chat. So I'll go back to the next slide. Is this still only showing a vote thing? Enable comments. Okay, great. Are you all able to do, like, put little comments in there? Or is it not working?
No, I think we can.
Okay, all right, cool. I just want to make sure. When I was testing it, it looked like you could do that, but it seems different on this side. Okay, cool. Awesome. Canva making things pretty and more eye-catching to improve student engagement. Yeah, that's definitely a great tool for us because not everyone's a graphic designer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Helen work together to create workshops. That's also great. Oops.
New workflow processes.
Oops, I'm sorry. New workflow. Sorry, this isn't the. This one is. Sorry. What's one strategy that builds collaboration in your office? Sorry about that. I wasn't on the right slide. Birthday lunches. Yeah, that's really nice. That's sweet. We should try doing that.
Oh, we should.
It would just be when it's your birthday and my birthday. Work together. Oh, okay. Sorry. Perfect. Awesome. Informal lunches are great. Yeah, definitely. So it doesn't even have to be for your birthday. Informal lunches are great.
I know one thing that made me feel like I was at home was how many people like reached out to me to schedule coffee chats and like different things like that. So I thought that was like really good and like helped me to just be able to open up more with my team.
Yeah. It's always nice. Yeah, that
Mhm.
like we kind of already created a collaborative environment within our college that new advisors, we try and make an effort to connect with them. And I saw those on your schedule. It was really nice. All right, let's see. Casual teams chat. Yeah, I'm always in the chat. Anyone want to talk about anything? Just chat me on Teams. Do adult coloring, doing adult coloring together. That's awesome. I have a bunch of coloring books too. So anyone want to color with me, come on down.
Love the event sessions among team, not boss.
Yeah. Yeah, no boss included into the event sessions. Because I mean, most of the time it's about them.
Processes by new, seeing where improvements can be made.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. Because having that fresh eyes on an issue that has been hard to disentangle can be really helpful. Short weekly department meetings with 2 staff members, a department chair and associate. Okay, yeah.
It's good to see we do a lot of these.
Yeah.
I think we can definitely improve on like the birthday lunches, the informal lunches.
Yeah. Attending events together and training together, getting out of the office. Yeah, that's nice. What about, we kind of have worked together to create workshops. I was just going to say work together on a proposal for a presentation. So that could be something you can do within your college or department.
Yeah.
And with those collaboration. Anyone from what we've submitted here, is anyone wanting to implement them when you go back? Well, you're already probably at your offices or home offices, but anything sound good to you all? You don't do yet? Quiet, shy, morning.
Say it's quiet. It's early. What kind of early?
Yeah.
Not that early. But.
What about Laura? I can pick on Laura too. Anything?
Why are you gonna pick on me? Things that we do. Well, you know what? We like Susie said earlier, we do have newer people in this office, and so being able to, we do a lot of those informal things between the, just the chats in the hallway that help, I think, bring us together on the way we're going to position both in support of students, but also when the student kind of pushes back, right? I think you guys touched on that a little bit, but a lot of us, for us, it's just those chats in the hallway, like, hey, this student just said such and such, and what do you think? And being able to like validate, yes, that's frustrating, or I hate it when that happens. And also I'm with you and you're doing the right thing, and let's stick together on this. Is I think really, really, it makes us feel like a team. So I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So it's also good, like not only keep like one voice within the department, but like also hopping out of maybe with pre-med, maybe you're talking to a pre-nursing advisor or something, and you're making sure that that's kind of the vibe you're going with. Or within class, we can talk to sociology or something to see like what they do and what we might want to change. But yeah, having that sounding board is definitely great. Yeah, anyone else? All right, cool. Small group, so the activities are taking a little less time, but that's okay. All right. I need to go to the next slide, I guess.
Yeah. So next we're going to talk about our key takeaways. Reciprocal support is powerful. It helps build resilience. New advisors bring fresh energy and innovation. Seasoned advisors bring grounding perspective. Together, we create stronger resilience and a collaborative culture. And this collaboration sustains both advisors and students.
And challenges are opportunities for growth and advocacy.
All right, this is, I believe, our last activity. You're going to write down one takeaway strategy you want to try with a colleague after this session. Again, you can use tool, you can put it in the chat, or you can come off mute and say it.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this a little bit already after we put our thoughts in, but is there something you want to commit to as an action step when you return back to your unit or department? Like maybe you want to connect with a more seasoned advisor on XYZ, or maybe for a more seasoned advisor, especially if you're feeling kind of that compassion fatigue, maybe try and siphon some energy from a newer advisor when you're talking about certain subjects. Maybe something that you can commit to.
I think that's Margaret, you're saying that, and I'm sitting here thinking about how I think that's also something we have to respect as seasoned advisors, is not just sucking the lifeblood out of our new advisors. Because it can be, I have really found it really energizing, and not trying, but also recognizing I need to protect that boundary for them and make sure that it's not too much. But I think it's funny that you say that. So
Yeah, we can't be energy vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll like replenish each other. It's synergistic. Like you start the energy, I'll continue the energy, and we're just feeding off of each other. I didn't mean it by like just sucking the energy, but okay. Chats and teams. Chats and teams. Yeah, definitely. Anyone who isn't like either looking for a sounding board or wanting to let out some frustration in teams with a colleague, try and do that, because it's definitely helpful. And then we can also try and walk it back too if it gets to be too toxic, because you don't want to go too much into the vent. Work with colleague for a presentation workshop. Cool. Yeah. Bring back lunches with colleagues or start birthday lunches, foster relationships. Yeah, perfect. That's great. I have started working with a new advisor on our team on collaborative presentations. That's awesome. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to like it, but it's not okay. Who is going to work with a colleague for a presentation or workshop? Who put that one in there?
I did. This is Dawn.
Oh, okay. Hi, Dawn. Cool. What are you thinking? Is that one year?
Something towards student success in the fall of study skills, and perhaps something trying to not use AI as much, or something, trying to enhance critical thinking skills in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't thought of it yet.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's cool. Definitely great to build connection.
Michaela, is it Monger?
Our joint presentation April for the 18th. Nice. Michaela Moyer and I are doing a joint presentation in April for the 18th. Perfect. So you're already committed. You already got down. Awesome. Cool. And maybe for the new advisors, definitely seek out the seasoned advisor. Like if you want to try out presenting, because as Erica mentioned, trying to our professional record and trying to go up for promotion or ESS, sometimes that's really challenging. And a scary place to start. You don't know where to start. So connecting with a more seasoned colleague on even just steps for that, or maybe you saw them do something and you think you can work together on either multidisciplinary perspective on something or just an advising perspective, don't be afraid to reach out. And same thing with seasoned advisor. If you see some superstar new advisor that you want to, I don't know, there's so many metaphors that I could use. Is it tie your saddle to? I don't know what it is. Whatever the metaphor is. Then definitely reach out to them because we want to have that partnership with our colleagues. That's not just this more seasoned people in control of everything. Some other things, some other things that you could do is I'm also the president of the Academic Advising Council. Feel free to attend our open meetings, which are on the third Wednesday of the month. I think it should be on your calendar, but also our committees are open to new advisors, or more seasoned advisors trying to do something new. So don't be afraid to try new things in committee work as well too.
That's what I was gonna say was don't be afraid to try new things or hone in on things that you feel like might be good to your success as an advisor. Like for me, I'm doing a Data Literacy Institute, which I thought would be really great for just our team in general. And I'm really liking it. And just like also put myself out there with like doing workshops and stuff like that. Because I love to do workshops. So just being able to like do a workshop is really good for me. So don't be afraid to like put yourself out there. Of course, like if you can, like if work is too busy, then I understand. But like at least try to do like one or two things that's new. So that you can like just progress into your role. Yeah. And I ask a lot of questions too. Like another thing I do, I don't mind asking questions. That's going to help you grow. I'm really big on questions. Like if we don't ask how we understand concepts and things like that. So ask away. I like to say like there's no such thing as a dumb question because there's not. Like if you got a question, ask. Like don't feel uncomfortable about asking questions because that's the way you learn. Yeah.
Definitely. So speaking of that, any questions for us, either about our department, our roles within the department, or other strategies we've done? Any questions or anything you want to hear more from? No one else has their camera on. It's okay. It's just like an appointment. Oh, Don, you're sweet. You turned it on. We shamed you to turning it on. And more. Okay, cool. Thanks, Erica. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, so any questions, feel free to follow up, but these are our references. And yeah, thanks for joining.
Thank you. This is great. I hope you submit to the
for NACADA or something. Yeah, I think we might propose for Miyakata